Hey, what is up everybody? It is Gambato Gaming. Today I'm coming at you with a film review. Today we are talking about the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I just got back from it. I went to see it tonight on a crisp Saturday night, and I'm here to talk about it. So let's get in. Listen, I love to support independent film directors like Shigeru Miyamoto here, so I really wanted to go out, spend my own hard-earned cash to support my boy. All that said, I really didn't think I was going to like this movie. You know, I've gone on record. Here's some clips of me reacting near the time of the original announcement of the film. Ugh, dude, I don't know. I really don't know what to think about that. I feel like a fucking loser having to contemplate the Mario trailer, but I guess it's everything I could have expected from a movie about Mario, so that's not live action because, well, thank God it's not live action. Could you imagine? That was mainly based on the fact that the voice cast, I thought it would ruin the film. This is around the time when no official trailer had been released, and it was only the reveal of the voice actors, and it was kind of just their faces, and we were all kind of just a bit worried about the film. And then my opinion changed a little bit based on the first official trailer. That's the one I first watched from the movie. And after that, I went radio silent. I know there was about 2 more trailers that showed more about the movie and the overall story and plot, but I wasn't gonna let my opinion be swayed by trailers. I'd say this is the thing I knew least about going into the film. I wasn't super sure how they were going to have a coherent story, but basing it off of recent Mario games like Mario Odyssey, I think that's a great way to keep the movie on a good pace. Obviously, this isn't just Mario Odyssey's story in the movie. It's a unique story to the movie, but it is filled to the brim with references to everything Mario. We'll talk about some of these references soon, but the basic gist of the story is that Bowser is a no-good incel. We all know incels, right? And he mainly wants to marry / get down and dirty with Princess Peach. In the film, that is his main villain goal, the thing that drives him, and what makes him want to rain down terror on the Mushroom Kingdom. And when we really boil it down, this is kind of the reason Bowser does everything he does throughout the games too. But it's never been this cut and dry. I think Mario Odyssey really drives this point home more than any of the other games did, with the whole wedding concept behind that game's story. And I think this movie borrowed and leaned into that notion that Bowser is actually this no good lonely person. So yeah, they leaned into that fact a little bit more, and I'm glad Mario Odyssey was kind of there to be on the backside to hold this plot point up a little bit. So the villain's motive makes sense to me, and to be honest, that's a big thing for me in movies. If the villain's motive doesn't make sense, and there's no legs for the fucking movie to stand on. The thing I was more confused about is how Mario would have tied into the movie. Like, would he have already been in the Mushroom Kingdom? Does it go deeper into Mario's lore and his backstory? And turns out they did the latter and really cemented Mario as the Italian plumber he is. And I really loved it. The games really don't push Mario's origin stories down people's throat, so to see it present in the film was a really nice surprise. Without spoiling much more, I think the story was great and made for a movie that was really well paced. Its runtime is only 90 minutes after all, and it feels like a very fast 90 minutes. Mamma mia! Let's talk a little bit about the characters in the movie. You know, the character lineup was where I thought I would have the biggest problems with the film, and that's still kind of somewhat true, so it's no surprise probably by this point. I gotta reveal it, I love this movie, but my main problems do come from some of the voice actors and even character choices. Most of the characters I thought going into it would have been good were actually really great, and some of them actually even surprised me. Take Chris on, you know, Chris Pratt. Listen, I'm his #1 hater. I've never liked the guy. I think he's just your average white dude. So I thought I'd be really put off as his voice is Mario, but I gotta say, I think it fits perfectly for Mario in this movie. I think it's because he doesn't sound like Chris Pratt. He just sounds like generic white guy 5, which is what Mario needed to be in the movie. Luigi was one of my favorite characters in the movie, and I'm a little bit biased because I'm a huge Always Sunny fan, and Charlie's character in that show is my favorite from the show.
We read you loud and clear, and just to reiterate, we don't suck on people, we own a bar, so...
I'm sure you do! So yeah, I'm going in with a little bit, you know, expecting big things from Charlie Day, but he fucking killed it as Luigi. Princess Peach was a little intense in terms of her voice acting, but I'm glad they made her seem a little bit more badass than she is in the games. I just really wish this was reflected in the games themselves, you know, even the modern ones. How can she do half the somersault ninja shit she's doing in the film, but still constantly gets captured and is a little pussy? One of my least favorite characters in the movie was Donkey Kong, and it was purely due to the voice actor Seth Rogen. This character was based on Seth Rogen and not Donkey Kong, at least in terms of small things that built Donkey Kong's character throughout the film. Instead of iconic Donkey Kong noises and sound clips, they ended up going for the obnoxious ass Seth Rogen weed laugh. You know the one. My lungs don't work anymore. And just his overall mannerisms, it kind of ruined the character for me. It wasn't that bad, to be honest, because there's moments in the film where he's just regularly talking and it doesn't sound like Rogen at all. So I think it was only a few points in the movie that really made me kind of cringe at Donkey Kong's character. Bowser, however, was one of my favorite characters in the film, and he was way more funny than I thought he'd be. I don't know if it's just the ridiculous incel storyline he plays so well into, or if it's the fact that Jack Black voices him, but this character was fucking great. Much like Donkey Kong, Bowser feels influenced by his voice actor Jack Black, with things like heavy metal music being played as Fortress. The fact that Bowser is the only one who sings in the movie. Like, we all know Jack Black has some vocals on him. So I assume if, they chose someone else to voice Bowser, we may not have gotten such a musical performance from the King Koopa himself. You could argue this doesn't really feel like an authentic Bowser and feels like Jack Black dressed up as Bowser, but I don't know, I really didn't mind this. Which is weird considering Donkey Kong was kind of ruined for me by that same kind of fact. I don't know, this felt like the best way you could have done a character like Bowser in this movie without, making him too dark and edgy. Other smaller characters were as good as they could have been, like Toad. However, there were some characters that seemed to be missing. The main one I noticed was Toadsworth, who is usually Peach's right-hand toad, at least when it comes to her being in the castle or even on vacation, but he was replaced by just this random deeper voiced older blue toad. What was that? That was a little bit disappointing, to be honest, but that's kind of just really a nitpick from me. Overall, the character surprised me and the voice acting was done well for the most part. Let's throw it over to visuals and sound. The visuals in the movie are incredible, but I really don't think that was ever a worry of mine. Illumination may be responsible for one of the most annoying characters that's ever existed in all lifetimes ever, but they are also great at portraying high quality animation, and the Mario movie is really no exception to this. The character designs fit that of the film's style, but it also still feels very authentic to the Mario games and the universe that surrounds them. There are a lot of areas covered in the film, and the film's pacing, in my opinion, is benefited by this. Take, for example, the big climactic cinematic battle scene at the end of the film. I honestly thought this battle was fully going to take place in the same place for the entire scene, but much like a video game, the environment changed, and it changed the entire sequence. The entire film felt like this as well, as if the director himself was trying to speedrun the scene. It does kind of give you a feeling of whiplash in ways, especially if you are a huge Mario fan, because the amount of references are out of this world. I shit you not, at one point it felt like there was a new reference to catch every 20 seconds in the film. And in a 90-minute movie span, it is a lot to catch. So you feel like you're just on your game for 90 minutes trying to catch all these references, because God forbid you miss a really cool one. Like, take for example, there are references to specific games. Like, I saw at least 3 references to Mario Odyssey alone in the movie. The sound is also used to reference things, like sounds for enemies appearing. Like, Magikoopa showed up at one point and sounded like he appeared from Mario World. Or, even more importantly, the references used through the music. Most of the music in the game is references to popular Mario songs that pan throughout the entire series. And these are remade to be more bombastic and to fit the pace of the scenes they're in, but they are still definitely recognizable. I kind of wish there was a bit more Donkey Kong Country song references in the Donkey Kong Kingdom section. I think there was only one, it was in the intro, and it was like a small little clip. I get why they didn't add more, because obviously this isn't a Donkey Kong film, but it seemed like a huge miss. The film was already surrounded by great music by Koji Kondo, you throw a little David Wise in there. Add a little bit of that sweet sauce. The movie was also sprinkled weirdly with cringy, overplayed 80s songs, but most of them actually fit if you aren't brain dead from hearing these overrated tunes over and over and over again. My favorite real song from the film was No Sleep Till Brooklyn by the Beastie Boys, and it played in the beginning of the film as Mario and Luigi are running through downtown Brooklyn. That shit was fire as fuck, and that's when I fell in love with the movie. Overall, I feel like the visuals and sound departments were the strongest for the film. I do feel like there were some things missing in this department, but I feel like the way the music carries the film serves itself well to the entire experience overall. Let's get into my final thoughts. I was very surprised by this film. I didn't expect much from it. It is a love letter to anybody who likes Mario games or even Mario in the slightest. I'd say if you've ever even touched a Mario game, played one, and enjoyed it, you should probably go see this movie. I would say though, if you don't think you'd get a lot of the references in the film, it could feel a bit slow here and there. But if you're a mega fan, you'll be busy during the movie trying to fucking find all these little Easter eggs and shit. It's not just Mario references either, guys. They reference fucking Punch-Out in the beginning of the film. Like, I know I'm missing so much in terms of these smaller Easter eggs, and it makes me just want to watch it over and over again, so I get them all. Listen, if I had to throw this onto a scoreboard, you know, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. If you want a definitive score from me, there it is. I really do think this is a pretty great movie, and it's the best version of what this movie could have been. And I can't wait to see what else Nintendo has up their sleeve for their cinematic universe. Seems like great things are on the horizon for this universe they're building, or seemingly building, you know. Well, we'll see. But this movie is already doing really well at the box office, so it'd be kind of weird if they didn't expand on it. Anyway, if you guys have seen the movie, let me know what you thought about it down below. It's rare for me to be so positive about something Nintendo does. So I was very happy that this film turned out as great as I thought it was. And hey, if you didn't like it, let me know down below too, because I'm always curious as to the negative reports from the movie. I think getting both sides of the coin is a good thing. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video soon.